I decided that July is such a month when there is some time to relax and not to take in too much information and maybe get I don't know, get enthusiastic about something because as teachers, as workers of educational system, we give away too much during the school year, and then there is time to take something in. And most probably it's not very much about professional development, but just relaxing. So today we will have quite a relaxing webinar. We will think of the ideas of one of the best authors, Professor Herbert Puchta, and we will talk a little bit about his method, his books, and how his ideas can inspire your teaching for future. But yeah, we will not be learning too much today. We will not be professionally developing some super systems or methods or anything. So we will look at a few things, and before that, I'm really interested to see who is here among you all. So, is there anyone in this chat, in this webinar meeting, who remembers this seminar? Okay, Oleg, hi there. Uh, wow. So this was the year 2015, and you can see that there is a cake that looks like Supermind's first edition book. Year 2015. I was 23 or 24 back then, and that was the time when I was working at the event agency, and I had nothing to do with teaching English except for I was teaching at a evening school. This was a private language school somewhere at Polytechnic University Station area, and yeah, it was just my evening hobby, and I had a day job which was event management, and I came to this event just to see how it is organized, how it works in the educational world, how people make conferences there. And yeah, back then I was making different events for Mazda company, for Pocketbook company, and completely not connected to English. So I came to this Herbert Puchta seminar just to attend and see. And when I didn't really pay much attention to how everything was organized because I was so astonished by how English teaching can open the world of inspiration and fun, that I decided, okay, starting from this day, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to teach English like that. And yeah, I think one of these heads is mine, but I don't really remember which one. I don't really remember what kind of haircut I had back then. But that was the day that inspired a lot of teachers, and Superminds became one of the best sellers in Ukraine. Okay, so this is 2015. Is there anyone who remembers this one? Okay, there we go. Nina remembers this one. Okay. There was several similar seminars. All right. This was my first time of working for Cambridge University Press. I think it was like 3 weeks of my work for Cambridge University Press as an ELT consultant, because from 2015 till the end of 2017, I had the time of teaching and developing professionally extensively, and then all of a sudden I was the one to meet Herbert Puchta from the back then from the airport. And yeah, in 2017, Herbert Puchta came to Ukraine. He visited Kiev and Lviv, and that was the time when we launched one of the pilot projects together with Cambridge University Press, and this is the Shevchenko University House of Conference. So this one taken in Kiev, and if you can spot yourself somewhere here, it would be nice to read about it in a chat. Okay. Not many. Uh-huh. Okay, still Nina. Not many people remember this. All right. And the next one. This is finally me speaking at the event, and this is Herbert Puchta at the same place, but the next year. And then he visited again Kiev and Lviv. Yeah, this was the time when we started the cooperation with the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, British Council, Cambridge Assessment English, and all together we launched, we had the first year of the pilot project, which was for Quick Minds Ukrainian edition. And that was the book that was chosen by a lot of teachers in Ukraine, and most students at primary schools were using this particular edition. But that was history. Let's have a look at the quiz. Again, my favorite, Slido.com. And here I will ask you to choose which books has not been written by Professor Herbert Puchta. Which of these are not written by Professor Herbert Puchta? You will have to go to slido.com, enter the code, or just scan the QR code you can see on the screen, and it would be interesting what you know about the course books by this author. Not written by Professor Herbert Puchta. Pay attention. The books that are not his books. Okay, interesting. We'll have a look how many people we have here. Maybe someone else wants to join. And someone is typing in the chat. Okay, I think we have the winner. Prepare is not written by Herbert Puchta. The rest of the books were actually written by him, together with other authors, or only by Herbert Puchta, but all of these books, like Super Safari, the course book, three levels for very young learners, starting from 3 years old and up to the first grade. Super Safari is written by Herbert Puchta, and it's directed on developing critical skills of the very young learners. Then we have Super Minds. Super Minds, both editions, the first one and the second one, are written by Herbert Buchter, Peter Lewis Jones, and Günther Gerngross. There are three authors, but of course the main author would be Herbert Buchter, because he has the main concept and the main ideas, the main methodological approach here. Think, written by Herbert Buchter et al. Then Empower. He is one of the authors, together with Alan Duff and don't remember the third one. But yeah, he's one of the authors for Empower and Empower both editions. So check it out, whether you spot his hand in this book. And of course, both Ukrainian editions, Quick Minds and Super Minds Ukrainian edition, are used as the main text is of course written by Herbert Buchter, and the Ukrainian parts were written by Anne Robinson, by our Ukrainian authors, and edited also by us. So if you're working in the third grade next year, and if you have chosen Super Minds, you will be working with one of the Herbert Buchter books. The main motto is that language learning isn't just about language. It's about how the brain stores information, content, and appeals to students, and ultimately helping learners to feel that they can succeed. This is something that sounds very simple, but it's very much life-changing if you acquire this idea, if you acquire it and put it in practice, and really work a little bit on understanding how the brain works, and what are the obstacles on the way of the brain work, especially with teenagers. You will see how much will open up for you, and you will see how you can help your students perform properly. Okay, one more little quiz without any Slido things. I will ask you to write what you think is false. And here are a few facts. Herbert Buchter often goes to safari in Africa and then uses his own photos for course books. Okay, I will stop reading. You can read it yourself. So this is fact number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And number 5. I will ask you to type number and false. There is only one false fact here. Okay. So many answers and so many options. All right. uh, shall I tell you the truth now? The false. I mean, which one is the false fact? I will not keep it a secret. I want to talk about some of them. Um, all right. The fourth is false. I put here Helbling Publishing, Cambridge and Harvard University Press. Maybe he published something at Harvard University Press, but definitely not a course book and not an actual book. Maybe he published some scientific research there or something like that. So this would be Helbling Publishing, where, for example, the course book More, if anyone remembers this one, More was published at Helbling, and I think Playway to English or something like that. But the rest of it is published at Cambridge. And if you find something published in Harvard University Press, let me know. Now, a little bit about a few facts. So, Herbert Puchta actually goes to safari in Africa and actually uses his own photos for a course book. Definitely for one, for two course books. So you might find his works at Think. I guess this is level 3. Think level 3. There is a topic about Africa, and there is his photo that he took of a lion or a tiger, not sure, but you can find it there. Level 3, Think second edition. I believe it's unit either 3 or 5, but there is only one huge photo taken from Africa. And there is something in Empower, also taken by Herbert Puchta. And he does go to safari together with his grandson. And this is one of his, no, this is his only activity in summer. This is something he does in summer where when he is not writing. He goes there for a week or two to do safari. Now, he used to teach an 80 students class in Latin America. There was once, he once told a story at one of the seminars that there was a huge class, 80 students, all of them aged starting from 6 to 16. And those were, let's say, naughty children. Some of them were actually criminals. And he managed to teach English to them for a few months, and he managed uh, to provoke this desire to learn English, and not only English as the language, but more about the culture. So this is a great story about the amount of students in the class and the way of the story about the lack of motivation of teenagers. Yeah, I think if you find it anywhere in his articles, I will show you where to read his articles. It inspires, yeah, us as teachers to understand that the main obstacle is somewhere inside us, not in the children. And yeah, and those are the children who enter this world that we built. So that's quite a responsible thing if you think about it. He came to Ukraine. Uh, yeah, he came to Ukraine 8 times, visiting Lviv, Kiev, Kharkiv, and Odessa. That's true. And he publishes books for, that one was false. He has a grandson and he teaches English to him at school as a part-time job. This is also true because he he wants to keep his teaching muscle stretched and in tonus to keep making materials that are up to date and that can relate, can be relevant for to the learners, to the contemporary learners. So he does that. He was doing that when his grandson was a very young learner, then just a young learner, and now as a teenager. Okay, that's it with true or false biography facts. Let's have a look. Were there any assistants in such a huge class? There were teachers who were watching Herbert Puchta teaching, but I'm not sure about assistants. Okay, his most recent idea is about neuropedagogy, and he is the author. I will now go to slides that some of you have already seen, most probably. So he's the author of the idea of cognitive control functions. And of course, these are the terms that we all know from before Herbert Puchta made them up. We all know what is working memory, what is inhibitory control, what is cognitive flexibility, but he is the one who actually set these functions to practice in the books. And one of such books is Super Minds, second edition. And if you want to learn more, you can find this brochure, Cognitive Control Functions in Language Learning, to learn more. But yeah, he works with these three cognitive control functions to design materials. How it works. So we look at the picture. Now we say what's missing. You don't have to do it in the chat. What's missing next time, and most probably you already forgot the whole picture. This is working memory. It is the ability to hold information in mind so that certain tasks can be completed. And this is not about our memories from childhood or our long-term memory, but working memory in particular, working memory tasks should be there at every lesson. And some information doesn't have to be stored in our minds, and some of this information will go to the long-term memory. And here we work with the lexical material on this stage, the working memory stage. We work with the lexical material, for example. We remember some items, but the task is not to learn the words. The task is to play the memory game, right? So what's missing? Yay, thank you. Egg, something else, yeah. I think you all saw this thing. Egg, parrot, and dog were missing. And even though you most probably did it several times, it's still fun to name these things, to check yourself all the time. And for kids, it will be also fun. So we have this idea. We turn our mindset to not to learn words, but to play this game, which is more emotionally relevant, it's fun, and it actually works for the connection of working memory and long-term memory. Then inhibitory control. This is more about the attention. It refers to the abilities to focus attention and control our emotional and behavioral responses. To be attentive and to keep to broaden our attention span. And these days, of course, for young learners, it's always a challenge, but even for adults these days, it's quite a challenge to keep our attention span. And this is something we need to work on during our lessons together to be uh, to make these lessons immersive, right? And I will send you another brochure about the immersion, but to make your lessons immersive means to keep attention within the task and not to fall out from the process. And yeah, cognitive flexibility also connected with the creativity. Sorry. Cognitive flexibility is needed for solving problems and enables students to look at issues from different viewpoints, to think outside the box, and to adapt to changing conditions. And actually, this is about connecting all what came to our working memory, had the long way to the long-term memory. We were attentive here, and then we can make connections with other things that jumped into our memory. And in such case, even if you visualize it for yourself, the whole brain has these different ways, and then different items sit there, and then they are connected, interconnected, and the more flexible you are, the more you use different ways to connect things, the better your mind will work, even when you get older. Now, a little bit about Puchta's approach to teaching grammar. For example, with young learners, Herbert Puchta has this idea. You all know presentation, practice, production. This is must-have knowledge for all of us. We all use it when we plan the lessons, when we teach the lessons, when we just even when we talk to other people. We present, we practice, we produce. But Herbert Puchta says that it doesn't work like that with young learners. He says that there should be discovery instead of presentation, because whatever you present should fall on some background, on some background. Yeah, you present new grammar. Here is the new grammar. You present it, and here is the student. He should have some metalinguistic knowledge. He should have some knowledge of this world to accept your presentation, because it's about how systems work. Yeah, so you presented the grammar, and then you can try to practice it. But with young learners, to make this metalinguistic background, they need to create it on their own. They need to discover, they need to observe how language works. So the first stage would be discovery. Of course, guided discovery. The teacher should guide everything, because you can discover and it can turn out to be something wrong. But still, the teacher guided discovery. Then we have consolidation, consolidation instead of practice. When you, whatever you discover, you consolidate it. And then you can try to use it. Yet you cannot really produce the language. With young learners, it becomes reproduction rather than production. And what is really producing language, right? For young learners, it is crucial that they use the language in different situations that they already know, That's why we have all the course books that start with at school or in the classroom. This is immediate knowledge. Uh, this is a pen. Okay, I know it because I see it now right here. When I don't have this metalinguistic thing, there is nowhere to take it from, and we cannot demand that students can understand that we just have to do the immediate things with young learners. And with them, it's more about imitation. At the discovery stages can start with imitation. Imitation can be supported through the multi-sensory activation and activation and helps with pronunciation, intonation, word and sentence stress, vocabulary, chunks of the language, structures, discourse features, and on this level of imitation, this is actually how the native language works. First, we imitate the adults, we imitate their behaviors, and we imitate whatever they produce with their mouths. And only then the understanding of the content comes to us. Yeah, first we just imitate the sounds, physical sounds. We try out our articulation apparatus as children of 1 year old. And there is the whole process of building a concept in our head. And so it works the same with the young learners when they learn the new language. It's better if they learn it from scratch as the native language, acquiring it step by step, starting from imitation, going to practicing control. And here I'm talking about the consolidation stage. Practicing control versus controlled practice, as we have it in presentation practice stage of that model for adult learners. So practicing control is about this. Appropriation has connotations of taking over the ownership. Appropriation of the target language means making the language your own, meaning students need to acquire the language, practice it, imitate it until they catch the concept and can put this language in a specific situation in a relevant way. In practicing control stage, on the practicing control stage, you can add challenges for students, but if they make mistakes, you can correct these mistakes by shadowing or echoing, or someone says parroting. Yeah, when a student says, I whatever, he go to school, we kind of ask the question, oh, he goes to school, and then they students get used to it. So you do not correct the mistakes like that, this is wrong. You just use the language naturally as you do it, just in the correct way, so students can acquire it naturally. Adding choice, playing games, and so on. For example, how it works with the grammar topic, this modal: discovery, consolidation, use. So first, you suggest students to fill out the bubble. Waiter, da, 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 da. Yes, sir, it's fly soup. And you have a picture here. You ask students to write something, to choose what should be written there. A fly is in my soup. My soup has a fly in it. There is a fly in my soup. In my soup is a fly. Okay. Yeah, of course. Number three is the best because we know, and there is this topic, there is the raw. We know it already. Students might choose something else, and it's not such a big mistake to say a fly is in my soup. It's just it sounds funny, but most probably students will choose the third option just because, first of all, they see that there is this topic. That's already a hint. Second, we live in a very English-speaking environment with a lot of chunks of the language from different directions in cartoons, in video games, in smartphone games, and so on and so on. And they might have heard it somewhere, so they will choose this one because it's somewhere already there, somehow reflected on their eyes when they scrolled something. But yeah, most probably they will choose the third option, and then you play with this option. How to say? There is a fly in my soup, and then how many? Two. Uh-huh. There are two flies in the soup. Um, and you play this game and you suggest that students observe the language. So here we have there is a fly in my soup, and then when there are two, what do we say? There are two flies in it, and so on and so on. So you ask students to say different with the different amounts of flies, to say different sentences. And then on the use stage, you ask students to model the same in the same situation. Like, what else can be there with the waiter? There is an elephant in my soup. Yes, sir, it's an elephant soup. Then it's a computer soup, and so on. So whatever students choose, they can go as creative as they want to, but let them challenge each other and have fun in this situation, and then challenge them even more and ask them to say, like, there are a few items, yeah? Like, it's a pencil soup. If this person fills out the bubble, it's a pencil soup. Um, and then if we have a picture like this in the soup, there are pencils in your soup, right? So you play with it as if grammar is kind of secondary, but then you practice the whole thing, and you can do it in the course book. Practicing control is about a lot of practice, heads up versus heads down activities, uh, achievability of tasks, so they get more and more complicated gradually, meaningful communicative situations, something that really makes sense and not like my favorite Herbert Puchta's example is, what do you really mean when you ask a person, what color is my hat? Like, are you crazy? It's your hat, you know the color. Yeah, so make these conversations fun, make them work as games, challenge a little bit, a little bit of challenge should be there. If you ask a question, it should be the reason to answer this question. Yeah, but what color is my hat when the teacher asks, or what's this? Like, I know what's this. Why would I ask that? Yeah, this is about meaningful situations. And differentiate activities, make them variable. Um, Autonomy, on the last stage comes the autonomy. To make your students autonomous learners, they should be interested in the content, and you should be interested in the content you're providing. You should be tolerant of errors and use discrete error correction. And you should own the skills to facilitate negotiating meaning, right? Not just presenting the ready-made meaning. Nobody likes that, especially young learners. But facilitate, let them discover, let them make their choices and lead them to the best choices the language provides. Patient support, of course. Okay, we have 15 minutes left and we have tips for teaching teenagers. Yay. This is my favorite book for now, and I really recommend this one, Tips for Teaching Teenagers. It has motivation, classroom management, classroom culture, listening, speaking, reading, writing, of course, behavior management, and fostering maturity. These are the contents. There is also a poem in the end and some appendix for making cards and board games. But really, this is a wonderful resource and you can use like one out of these 101 activities. You can use one for the whole year. For example, once a month, and it will make your students, it will make a routine in your classroom that will make your lesson very unique. So I do suggest that one, you can buy it. And something that I took from this book, I will show you. Some of you have already seen this on other slides, on other seminars. But these are the ideas that I developed reading this book, just because it's very inspiring. So very simple one, substitution tables. I use to substitution tables are great for practicing new grammar. You ask students to create their sentences that are true for them. And this is meaningful because you choose from the range what's really about you. And teenagers, they're quite selfish. They would want to write about themselves for sure. You can, and what does it give you? Together with the creativity, some kind of creativity, it's limited, but it's still there. You drill the structure. I use this to do this. I don't use this to do this. So you drill the grammar structure. And then you ask students make true or false sentences to start communication, like I did with Herbert Puchta, facts about his life. You can ask students, so I use laptop to, I don't know, to clean my house. Yeah, you can ask students to go creative. And then they have to make one false sentence, all true sentences, and then it will lead to the discussion with the partner, because they will share the information, try to guess, and then tell what's the story behind all the true sentences, all the false sentences. Humor and small talk, another tip from Herbert Puchta, using humor. For example, my favorite activity was given to me by my physics teacher at school. I love it. I used it so many times with the different teenage students, and works every time. So this is the specifically this joke is for, I would say it's a riddle. It's for students when they study directions. And here is here is a riddle. Where does the bus go? And they have to talk about it, negotiate, why, explain, give their arguments, and so on, until someone not guesses, until someone logically finds the answer. What do you think? Where does the bus go? Nah, nah. You have to say the direction. Only the direction. Okay. So we have left. You need to explain where it goes. There is no trick. There is no trick here. It either goes right or goes left. There is no driver. There is a driver. He's not visible. And you have to explain why do you think the bus goes right or why do you think the bus goes left? It doesn't stop, it goes. Why? The doors are on the right side. Yes, thank you. Someone wrote the answer. The doors are on the right side. Thank you. And this is the answer. But you see how many options you already mentioned. To the party, to school. You revised some vocabulary. You made your brain work. And this is something that students can also do. They might use their native language here. Uh, you just do not count these answers, but they can go get excited and use their native language. But still, you ask them to explain this in English and to find the correct answer. They can discuss in the groups and so on. You all know it. But yeah, rewards for those who got the right answer and explained why. Um, I'm pretty sure that someone now in the chat typing, and what if it's this, in Great Britain? Okay, now making meaningful communicative situations. Another Herbert Puchta's thing, effective role plays. He has a whole range of making up role plays. For me, my favorite are the improv games. One of such games, for example, is uh, wait a second. Yeah, practice phrases and practice drilling, but ask students to talk to your friend, to talk to the queen, to talk to the grandfather, baby, head teacher, neighbor, someone you don't like, someone you secretly like, and so on. So this is not role play, really. Yeah, it's not the one that we are used to when we have a dialogue and we act out the dialogue. This is my least favorite thing. But we give them a task, like in an alias game or something like that, and it becomes more meaningful. Then say it like you're happy, sad, angry, annoyed, and so on, but the previous one is better. And the improv game would be my favorite because it accumulates the language. For example, you ask two students to act as if they're having a date. At once, there is a lot of awkwardness, and your students don't want to do this, and then finally someone will try. Again, super awkward, super awkward. And then you ask the third student to be a waiter at their date in the restaurant, and um, you give tasks to both dating students. One of them is, for example, is very afraid of cockroaches. And another one is super afraid of ghosts. And their task is, whatever happens, not to reveal their fears. And the task of the waiter is to find out what they are afraid of. But no one is allowed to directly speak about it. This is crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but I had a situation when the student who was playing the waiter was improvising, of course, but he made up the names of the dishes that would be, oh, this is the fish champagne, or because it was a bar or something, or it was a cockroach cake, and things like that. And this is how he found out that that was the exact fare of these two. And they had to act simple to improvise a real meeting when the waiter wasn't there. And he had to come in and come out. So there is an actual kind of lifelike situation of a restaurant. It doesn't have to be a date, of course. It can be a business meeting or something like that if you don't want to play with that. But yeah, this is an effective role play that really provokes real life communication. I will omit this one. Gallery walk. You can, if you need discussion in your classroom, you can ask students, and you need to prepare it. You can ask students, for example, to make a top 5 Netflix series and make this top 5, put it on the wall, and then all the students walk around and look at everybody's top 5, and they can find something similar, sit down, discuss that, find something that they are interested in, and again, sit down and discuss. Description of a pet or a picture of a pet, favorite music, these are the simple ones. Then what will I do in 10 years time? Again, students write it and then they put it on the wall. Others walk around, read, and they have, for example, a task to find the one you're interested in and interview this person about their, I don't know, 10 years time job or other activity. Then the strangest event that happened to me. This one is for students to prepare at home and most probably to print it out and then put it on the wall. And then others have to guess who wrote this. And if you want to have a very meaningful or difficult discussion, you see that maybe the emotional state of your students is not the best one, you can ask them to make a story about something that makes your students think a lot. We had a competition like that, for example, for the students all over Ukraine, and there were a lot of thoughts on the war in Ukraine, and so these students had some space to share their thoughts, and it would be great if they could share their thoughts with their peers and see how everyone is going through the same experience, and this might be very, very valuable. And you can put this into some book, capsule it, and give it away for the students when they graduate, for example. Okay, we had gallery walk. And another consensus to spark the discussions. For example, you have a statement. I think that AI can substitute me in writing essays. And the students have to say, I disagree, I agree, somewhere in the middle. And then they, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these would be stickers that students stick according to what they think, and then they look at the whole picture with the classroom. And for example, number 1 students can interview number 6 students, and so on. So they divide into 2 groups and ask questions like, why do you agree? Why do you disagree? And then we can have a very effective, persuasive conversation. If you want to find out more, you can go to herbertpuchta.com, find more about him, about his books. You can find a lot in his resources. There are articles that you can download. There are also ready-made activities that you can download. So make sure to visit herbertpuchta.com. And you can also find a lot on the World of Better Learning blog. If you Google World of Better Learning, you will see a website in the search window. You just put Herbert Puchta, and it will give you the whole list of his articles that he made for Cambridge University Press. Okay, excuse me. These are our main books that you can check at the Linguist website. All of them are presented on the Cambridge One digital platform, where you can also go through the free training. And the official distributor of Cambridge in Ukraine is the Linguist Company. I'm the representative, so if you're interested in some of Herbert Puchta books, in this one as well, you can go to the linguist.com website and order it there. That's me and my contact details. We'll be happy